Hi dear friends and subscribers, welcome to your favorite cricket show, the Cricket Happening Show with your host Ram today. Well dear friends and subscribers, I know I promised you that I will be bringing you a match report on the second one-day international between West Indies and Pakistan, where West Indies came back strongly yesterday to actually win against Pakistan. Almost Sunil Narine doing what Afridi did, because the pitch was getting slower and it was getting lower. Sunil Narine was the man of the match, in sharp contrast to the caning that he received the other day at the hands of Afridi. 3 overs, none for 32. Yesterday his figures read 10 overs, 26 runs and 4 wickets, and he was the one actually was the man of the match, and he was the one who actually won the match for West Indies and leveled the series 1-1 with 3 to go. Well, the reason that I am not able to bring a full match report, so I am definitely going to look at that particular match as a very short summary as to what happened. The reason being that there are a lot of cricket coming up. One is this is coming from Sri Lanka. Dinesh Chandimal, as you would remember, dear friends and subscribers, in the past, the youngest Sri Lankan captain ever to captain in a one-day international, it belonged to that very stockily built left-hander and a very successful captain at that from Sri Lanka, Arjuna Ranatunga. But that record is about to be broken by Dinesh Chandimal, who has been named as the captain of the Sri Lanka team for the first 2 one-day internationals. As you know, Angelo Matthews is out due to he has been suspended for 2 matches. So that's the reason the reins have fallen in the hands of Dinesh Chandimal. Dinesh Chandimal, as you know, he was the 2020 captain. Now he has been made the one-day. He has been made the Sri Lankan captain for the first 2 one-day internationals against South Africa, and that is going to be quite a record, because he becomes the youngest player at the age of 23 for Sri Lanka to captain Sri Lanka in a one-day international match. So we will look at that, and then tomorrow the Ashes clash once again resumes duty at the Mecca of English cricket, the Lord's Cricket Ground, where England, as you know, they are already one up in the series, but it was a very closely contested match, as you know, and there are a few questions for both the teams which I would like to address. And the other thing, last but not the least, would be the retirement at the age of 37 of a batsman, if one would call it probably unfortunate or whatever you call it. Mathew Sinclair of New Zealand, at the age of 37, has retired from all cricket. But let me give you one interesting piece of information about Mathew Sinclair. He is the person who on his debut against the West Indies made 214 runs, and till date, as far as New Zealand cricket is concerned, that is the highest ever score made by a debutant as far as Test cricket is concerned. Now, by a New Zealand debutant, I would probably put it as a New Zealand debutant. I just would like to get that thing pretty clear as to what exactly it is. I mean, that is the the 214 that he made is the highest highest score by a New Zealand Test debutant. And one would be wondering why Mathew Sinclair has been in and out of the New Zealand cricket team. He only played 33 tests, so we will talk about that. So as I said, there are a lot of things on my plate today, so I am just going to go one by one. So let's start off with the second one-day international between West Indies and Pakistan, which was played at the Providence Stadium in Guyana, the same ground. The one thing that I would like to say here is that Misbah-ul-Haq, the Pakistan captain, won the toss, and instead of batting first, he inserted West Indies in. Probably he was influenced by the moisture on the pitch, and probably he also thought that already Pakistan have that psychological advantage over West Indies, where Shahid Afridi mesmerized the West Indies batsmen. So that was the precise reason Misbah-ul-Haq would have been influenced to actually insert the West Indies first. But little did he realize that this was the pitch, this was the same pitch on which Shahid Afridi actually played havoc with the West Indies batsmen, where the pitch was getting slower and it was getting lower. So whether that was the correct choice, I mean, as far as the decision, as far as the result goes, one would very, very clearly say that it was a wrong choice. But, well, that was what Misbah-ul-Haq did. He inserted the West Indies in. West Indies definitely in all sorts of bother, losing Gale, Charles, Bravo. In fact, Bravo made 54 of 81 balls with 6 fours, 31 coming from Johnson Charles with 3 fours and 1 6. Chris Gale was dismissed pretty early in the piece, as he was a victim of Mohammad Irfan in the very first over itself. Marlon Samuels struggled for his 21 of 65 deliveries, 1-4, and Lendl Simmons was out for 10. So, and that was the time Shahid Afridi also completed his full quota of overs of 10 overs, no maiden, 29 runs and 2 wickets. And West Indies were really in all sorts of trouble at 150 for 5 in the 39th over. So the Pakistani bowlers had done a good job. But later on, Kieron Pollard and Dwayne Bravo, the West Indian captain, combined into a good partnership to take this West Indies score onto some respectability, and finally it turned the 232 for 8 of 50 overs turned out to be a winning score, with the captain of West Indies, Dwayne Bravo, not out on 43 of 52 balls with 5 fours. Kieron Pollard contributed 30 of 27 balls with 2 fours and 1 6. The bowling, well, yesterday Afridi took 2 for 29, 2 for 45 for Saeed Ajmal, 1 wicket apiece to Mohammad Irfan and Asad Ali, who bowled well, I thought. I mean, I would see whether I can have time to actually go into the bowling figures. Probably I have the time here. Well, Irfan 1 for 38, bowled well, providing the early breakthrough, getting rid of Chris Gale early in the piece. Asad Ali 6 overs, 1 for 35, bowled superbly, and the wicket that he got was a beautiful delivery that he bowled to Kieron Pollard, which went and disturbed his stumps. A Yorker-length delivery. Saeed Ajmal 10 overs, 245. Hafiz none for 32. Wahab Riaz 7 overs, no maiden, none for 37. And Shahid Afridi 10 overs, no maiden, 2 for 29, did his job there. As far as the Pakistan innings were concerned, Pakistan had a decent start of 37, put up by Nasir Jamshed and Ahmed Shehzad. Nasir Jamshed, who was struggling, he had a lot of life, he lived a charmed life. I wouldn't say it was a convincing knock, it was a pretty unconvincing knock from Nasir Jamshed. Was dropped a couple of times, and 4 times rather, and he contributed 54 of 93 balls with 4 fours and 1 6. Shehzad being 19 of 33, 1 4 and 1 6. Mohammad Hafiz making 20 of 25 balls with 3 fours. 17 of Misbah-ul-Haq's bat of 41 balls with 2 fours. 10 to Asad Shafiq. And the highest scorer was Umar Akmal, who really led the battle for Pakistan as far as the, I mean, he tried his best. In fact, he tried his best, but he could not get much support from the other lower order batsmen. Shahid Afridi was struggling today with his 5 runs, and Sunil Narine finally scalped him by getting him stumped by Johnson Charles behind the wicket for 5. After that, there was no support for Umar Akmal. Umar Akmal was left to really fend for himself and also try a few attacking strokes to get Pakistan, but in that process he holed out to Samuels of Bravo for 50 of 46 deliveries, 5 fours and 1 6. Wahab Riaz could contribute only 3. After that was Sunil Narine, who went through this. Sunil Narine actually throttled the Pakistani batsmen as the batting became pretty difficult on this pitch, with the pitch becoming slower and also keeping a low at times. So that really brought the downfall of the Pakistan batsman. Sunil Narine was absolutely up over the Pakistani batsman with figures of 10 overs, 1 maiden, 26 runs and 4 wickets, which netted him the man of the match award. And Pakistan were bowled out for 195. In the process, it was a 37-run victory for West Indies, and they leveled the series at 1-1 with 3 matches still to go. So this series is really getting pretty interesting. Bowling figures, let me talk about Kemar Roach. Kemar Roach at the top bowled excellently. He was a picture of economy, bowling 6 overs, 4 maidens, 14 runs and 1 wicket. He also was the one who actually got the breakthrough when he had the wicket of Ahmed Shehzad. There was splendid stuff from Kemar Roach in a one-day international, bowling 6 overs, 4 maidens, 14 runs and 1 wicket. It was some splendid stuff. In the past, one has seen Wasim Akram or Imran Khan get these bowling figures that Kemar Roach did. 7 overs, 2 maidens, none for 30 for Holder, wicketless yesterday. Narine I was spoken about. Darren Sammy 10 overs 1 for 46. Samuels 1 for 32. Pollard 6 overs 1 for 35 and 2 for 9 for the West Indian captain Dwayne Bravo. And well, so we look out for the third one-day international, which is coming up between West Indies and Pakistan. Is going to be played at a different ground, probably in St. Lucia. Is going to see the last 3 games being played there, and this is going to take place on 19th of July. Well, so now I'm going to leave the West Indies and we are heading towards New Zealand. Now the reason that we are heading towards New Zealand is that Mathew Sinclair was a very prolific scorer as far as the New Zealand county cricket was concerned, where he played in the domestic league in the Plunket Cricket Shield, a Shell Shield also in the past, I would say, which was the New Zealand trophy initially, and then it got to the name as Plunket. And Mathew Sinclair had a very good record, but what was very sad was a person who was the coming into the Test scene with an unbeaten, making 214 runs against. He was an opening batsman. He made 214 runs against West Indies in Wellington in 1999-2000. It was very sad to see that he never played lots of cricket. He only played 33 tests for New Zealand, and one would have reckoned that a person who scores double century on debut would probably cement his place in the New Zealand lineup, but it was not to be. And he was in and out of the team, and then 2 years later he once again came back and scored one more double century. That was against Pakistan, and finally he decided at the age of 37 to actually retire. He was the opening batsman. He was a good player to watch. He also played a few one-day internationals, played 54 one-day internationals and 2 2020 internationals. It was pretty sad to see that Mathew Sinclair, the opening batsman from New Zealand, decided to hang up his boots after scoring 2 double centuries in his short career of 33 tests. But what was very important, this was the highest ever score made by till today it's a record. The highest score made by a New Zealand batsman on Test debut belongs to Mathew Sinclair of New Zealand. What a player he was, but unfortunately he never donned New Zealand colours for quite a long time. Well, so that is some news which is coming up. And then, as I said, Dinesh Chandimal, the Sri Lanka, has been named as the captain to lead Sri Lanka for 2 one-day internationals which is coming up. The first one-day international kicks off on 20th of July at Colombo, and he would become as and when he goes for the toss with the rival captain A.B. de Villiers of South Africa on 20th of July. He would become the Sri Lanka's youngest ever one-day international captain, and good luck to him. As you know, Angelo Matthews is out with a 2-match suspension, so that's the precise reason. So that is something that I would like to, just wanted to just talk to you about that. He has been named the captain for the first 2 one-day internationals. So assuming that once Dinesh Chandimal leads in the 2 one-day internationals, the third one-day international, Angelo Matthews, the Sri Lankan captain, would be available, and Angelo Matthews would definitely take on the reins for sure. And tomorrow, one more thing which is coming up is the Ashes series once again resumes. The battle once again resumes. The only thing that I would like to talk about, I wouldn't be able to do a preview here. I'd just like to talk about what England would be doing. For England, well, everything going for them, but it was a very close encounter, as you know. It was not something that England had a stranglehold or Australia had the stranglehold. It was a very close match. It was very evenly contested, as you know. The first Test match where England won. Over here, the one thing that one is looking out for is whether Stephen Finn is going to make way for Tim Bresnan. Now, the only thing that would go in favour of Stephen Finn, according to me, is England will keep up the winning unit, and Stephen Finn has a very good record at the Lord's Cricket Ground. In 4 Test matches, he has taken 20 wickets, so that's a good record which is against him. But well, if the English selectors think otherwise, and they probably would replace him with Tim Bresnan. Tim Bresnan is also a good bowler. He can also bat. So whether they would be tempted to do that. So that's the only question as far as I'm concerned. As far as England is as far as the English cricket team is concerned, it would be wanting to see whether Stephen Finn makes way for Tim Bresnan or Stephen Finn stays in the team. Well, other than that, as far as Australia are concerned, as you know, Darren Lehmann has already sounded a warning to Ed Cowan rather, he was not looking his usual self. Whether tomorrow Australia would be tempted to actually drop Ed Cowan and bring in Usman Khawaja into the mix, or whether they would plump for an all-rounder in the form of probably James Faulkner, who could also bat. So that is something that Australia would be pondering on. Other than that, whether Jackson Bird would get a chance in place of Peter Mitchell-Starc, because Australia definitely have to take some chances here, because they know that it's not going to be, if England actually win the second test match, that would become pretty tough for them. So probably Australia might have to take some chances and see what really comes through. Well, dear fans, friends and subscribers, always a pleasure bringing you this Cricket Happening show every day. But also, dear friends and subscribers, this is only for my dear friends and subscribers that I would like to tell you that I'm also on to cricket blogging now. Well, I don't know how you can look at it. Probably you would find it. It's cricket and only cricket. So it's some cricket blogging, but I don't know whether I'll be able to devote the same time that I'm able to devote to YouTube. Probably as and when I find time, I would definitely blog on cricket. So that is a new venture that I have undertaken, dear fans, friends and subscribers. But I don't know how much justice I would be able to do it. But as and when I have an opportunity, I would definitely do some blogging. I already have two posts on my cricket blog, so you can have a look at it. Thanks for your company. Thanks for your tremendous cooperation to this show. Thanks for that support, wonderful support that's always there with you, dear friends and subscribers. Your host Ram would like to end the show with a big thank you. Thank you.